This is AIM Agenda. Thanks for your company. With me now from Melbourne, Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg, Labor MP Ed Husic with us from the Sky News Centre. Josh, first of all, on the prospect of Peter Slipper being the arbiter in the Thompson matter when it comes to his legal bills, you heard what Simon Crean had to say. He doesn't think that would be the case.
Well, Peter Slipper should have absolutely no role in what the Privileges Committee decides when it comes to Craig Thompson's payment of legal bills and arguably his breach of the disclosure requirements of the Parliament. Look, we've got a farcical situation here where the government is protecting Slipper. Slipper will arguably be protecting Thompson, and Thompson, by virtue of his vote, is protecting the government. This is ring-a-ring-a-rosy, Kieran, and it's just not on, and it's brought the Parliament into disrepute.
What do you think, Ed? Obviously, Peter Slipper, it is a bit odd that he would have any role in this, given he's stood aside.
So now let's just vacuum all that hot air and get straight to the facts. The facts are that the Speaker can give precedence to these type of issues on two grounds. One, if there's a prima facie case, and two, if the matter's been reported relatively quickly. Now, he can give precedence to it, but as Simon Crean rightly pointed out a few moments ago, the Parliament, the House, will make the decision ultimately in terms of what goes to Privileges Committee, and clearly we have sought to act as quickly as we possibly can in relation to a number of issues surrounding this matter, and that's what we'll continue to act in that way. Okay,
on the Prime Minister's speech yesterday, Ed, did you think the Prime Minister maybe should have given this sort of message sooner, expressing her disgust and dismay? A lot of people have been saying that for months now when it comes to the allegations at the HSU.
Yeah, look, and I know there was a whole lot of discussions too with Simon a few moments ago that were had about, what should have been done when, but as Simon's pointed out, and as I'd certainly restate here, we've had to go through and wait for the Fair Work investigation itself, and you've also had a case where someone has strenuously and continues to strenuously deny the matter. They'll have to account for that. Craig Thompson will have to account for that ultimately in court. But now that we've had the release of the report, we're acting. I think the big thing too, I think the big message as well for unions, I think there have been some that have been saying we don't need further regulation in this area. I actually think the smart unions will get ahead of the curve, and what they will do is seek to strengthen governance, seek to bring about more transparency and inject greater accountability in their operations. Their members would expect it, and I don't think it's something that can be avoided.
I want to go to Josh in a moment, but first I've got to cross live to Brisbane's Musgrave Park. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, police removing protesters. Our reporter Tom Connell's on the scene. Tom, what's the latest?
Kieran, police have started moving in. The protesters inside have formed a ring. They're locked arm in arm as police slowly move in. They're standing about 10 metres away, a long wall of police. There's up to a couple of hundred of police in and around this precinct at Musgrave Park in South Bank. Also, just where we are here, there's another group of protesters who have gathered since 6 o'clock, since police cordoned off the area. They're trying to sort of rush through and get through to the other protesters, the original embassy protesters, but there's two fences between them and plenty of police as well. So they're being held back on one side while these other protesters try to stave off police. They're moving in right now as I speak, trying to break these people up. As I say, they're in a ring around, they're holding arms linked, trying to hold on as long as possible. Police now moving in, they've decided this is going to be the moment.
Yes, Tom, well, thanks for keeping us up to date on that, and we will cross to you at the top of our 9 o'clock bulletin in under 10 minutes from now. It does look like things are heating up there at Musgrave Park. Appreciate it. Let's go to Josh Frydenberg and finish off our discussion on the politics this morning. Josh, the union movement talking about a big multi-million-dollar permanent fund to take on the coalition and big business. This sounds like a repeat of the Work Choices, very successful Work Choices campaign.
Well, look, the union movement's just an extension of the Labor Party here. I mean, Work Choices, as Tony Abbott has said, is dead, buried and cremated. Industrial relations hasn't been the battleground. We're talking about the carbon tax. And here you've got the unions in a desperate bid for power and to prop up the Labor Party, talking about spending and wasting its union members' money on campaigns. And look, that's totally inappropriate. But, when Ed says that he and Simon Crean are apologising for the investigation into Thompson taking a bit long, well, you know, they're crocodile tears, Ed. They're crocodile tears. It's taken more than 3 years. There's been an institutional go slow, and now you have Fair Work finding more than 150 contraventions by Thompson. Thompson has a case to answer, and when he's before the Parliament, for his sake, he better be careful and he better tell the truth, because Paul Howes and Peter Beattie and Kathy Jackson don't believe what he has had to say already.
Gentlemen, I want to. We did have some other issues we were going to talk about, but this is this volatile situation in Musgrave Park, Brisbane, is obviously. I want to ask you about this. Obviously, with no notice given, but this is quite a confrontation we're seeing in Musgrave Park this morning. Ed Husic, your thoughts on this as the police move in and start removing protesters?
We obviously want to have people have the ability, particularly in a democracy where we're saying to others that we're always keen to promote our democratic values, that people have the right to protest on issues of concern to them, but at the same time too you've got to recognise you operate within a community where there are a number of people wanting to use public spaces. I don't envy the position that's taken or needed to be taken sometimes by police. You just hope that these things get dealt with peacefully and that people aren't hurt in the process.
Yeah, Josh, I want to get your thoughts on this as well as we look at the live pictures coming in from Musgrave Park. It's the police are charging in again. There you can see that the protesters resisting their efforts to clear them out of that park, that tent embassy. Your thoughts this morning, Josh?
Well, it doesn't happen very often on this show, Kieran, but I have to say Ed speaks for both of us this morning on that, because he's right to point out, look, it's a balancing act. There is an absolute right to protest. We live in a free democracy. Let's hope no one gets hurt, but obviously if the police are involved, they're doing so for a particular reason.
Okay, let's, if we can, I'd like to get Tom Connell. Tom, you're there. Things